It is said, Yasya chittam dravi bhutam kripaya sarvajantushu tasya jnanena mokshena kim jhata bhasma lepanai. The one whose heart melts with compassion for all beings. For such a person, where is the need to attain any wisdom? Where is the need to attain any moksha? Where is the need to smear the body with ash or tie up its hair? No need for such a person to do any of these austerities or seek anything beyond when that person's heart melts with compassion for all beings. The essence of all spirituality is this. If your heart does not melt with compassion and your hands do not stretch out to help another person or a being in need, and if your head does not think about the welfare of all spirituality that you have learned through textbooks and discourses and all satsangs is a sheer waste. So how will you know whether you have learned any spirituality over here or not? Whether these 20 days or the days before that were of any use to you? Ask yourself whether your heart melts with compassion for all beings. If all the spirituality that we have learnt here has only motivated you to wear ochre robes and smear vibhuti and tie your hair in jata or anything like that, just an external change, it's not of any use. You can be as you are, that's what I keep telling. You wear what you're wearing, you eat what you're eating, you do what you're doing. But only with one condition, that your heart should be filled with compassion for all beings, especially those who are in pain. For them, all the more your heart should melt. But generally, compassion should be there for all beings. Then you know that your spirituality is actually got assimilated and you are practicing it. So ask yourself how much your heart has opened up and has become sensitive to every person around you and even beyond. And that is the difference between hell and heaven, I always mention. The story goes that there were people in the hell and there were people in the heaven seated around the dining table wanting to have their supper. And the condition was that all their hands were tied with sticks. So you could not bend your elbow and feed yourself. So there was chaos and utter mess in hell because everybody was trying to feed oneself. But it wasn't possible because the hands wouldn't bend. So they were struggling and kind of getting angry and frustrated and shouting and fighting to eat their food because they were hungry. Food was there, but they couldn't eat. On the other side, in the heaven, people were seated around the table and they were all feeding each other. They knew their hands wouldn't bend to feed themselves, so they have to only stretch to feed somebody else, and somebody else will feed them in return. And that is how in this heaven, everybody lived happily and nobody was hungry or sorrowful. The idea is just this much. It's all your attitude in life. When you think about I, me, only myself, the whole place becomes a hell, a living hell. When we think about each other and are ready to make sacrifices, to adjust, to accommodate each other, then the same place becomes heaven. So what we make out of this yuga, Kali Yuga, Kruta Yuga, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, or whatever Yuga, it all depends on what we do with ourselves and with people around us. Why this place is a Satya Yuga or Kruta Yuga and not a Kali Yuga? It's because in this place, everybody is trying to feed each other, trying to help each other. They don't think only about themselves, they think about others before themselves. So everything is beautiful over here. This is Swarga, this is heaven. Many people I have met in the course of time, last few days. Many of them are very new to us. So now all those who are old devotees, they should not feel terrible. What is this? He's not talking to us anymore. No. You are grown-up children. You don't need mother's attention anymore. You can look after yourself. When your time was there, you got all the attention that was necessary. Now there are others who are coming. They are coming to seek guidance. That's this spiritual solace. For them, it's all new. Many of them never been to a place like this before, but they all want to transform themselves. They all want to help. They all want to show compassion. And it's like a mother who has to feed the youngest first, because she knows that I have taught the older one to feed itself. And therefore, the mother's job is different now. And my job is like that. So I have to look after those. And that is the reason why I may not be able to speak to people individually as I could do before, because there are more people, more and more people coming. And mind you, they are not people who have ever been to any place or a guru or been versed in scriptures or been on such kind of journey before. For them it's all very new, but they are good people. They are good, but they do not know about God. So they are here to learn. So for them also there is a need to show them way, show them the direction. So like a good, well-behaved older children, you should be satisfied and contented with your lot and give space to the new people, devotees who are coming. Nevertheless, by now you should also find a connection within yourself to find that answer whenever you need one. You close your eyes, meditate, ask that. Don't go with an expectation that today if I sit, I will definitely get the answer. Maybe not. Many people go to meditate with the hope that they're going to experience something amazing. Or they'll have me talking to them. Or they'll have some visions and certain revelations. Because they go with these expectations, they don't get any of it. And then they force themselves to imagine things, all hallucinations. Because they're so desperate to get some outcome out of that little effort of meditation that they just won't get up unless they feel they had some experience. But I keep telling them, don't go with any expectations. The moment you go to with expectations, you've already ruined your meditation. No meditation is going to happen now. Because your expectation will disturb it. That is why it says in Kathopanishad, na virito duscharitat, na shanto na samahitaha, na ashantamanaso vapi, prajnanam etat anushishya. So it means for people who have not desisted from doing wrong things, who do not have peace of mind, who do not have concentration of mind, and more important, ashantamanaso vapi. Those who don't have patience to wait for things to happen in their course of time, not demand and expect it to happen as they want. Only such people get to know this knowledge. For others, this prajnanam na apnuyat, it doesn't come to them at all. Because it hides from you, it escapes you, because you are wanting it. When you go with simple, pure submission, sit in meditation and pray, without asking for anything, you just be there. You are there not to talk to God, you are there for God to talk to you, right? So you have to wait for God to talk to you. If you keep talking to God, where is the time for God to speak to you? So just go there empty and sit. And whatever that God wants to talk to you with from within, He will speak. And why it has to be the same thing as you decided to know or listen to? Why it can't be something else that God has in His mind to tell you? Many times we go with our questions and this desperation sets in. That I have gone with this question, this is the answer I must get today. What if that Bhagavan within does not want to talk to us about that topic on that day? Maybe something else He wants to reveal and convey. But we are not ready to listen. Why? Because our mind is filled with our own demands. So when you go and ask this question within, do not go with expectations and demands. You cannot put a target and a timeline to God saying that, today I definitely need to get this answer from you. Whenever, in the right time, in the right way, truth is revealed to everyone, answers are revealed to everyone. So that is the method of the older children, older devotees. They should find that peace, that place, that space within when you go and sit in front of your altar, but without any expectations, without any demand, without a huge list. And sit and ask something. If it transpires that day, good. If nothing happens, don't force yourself to imagine something and come out. You have to just relax, be aware. Something gets inspired, take it. Nothing gets inspired, so be it. You at least sat with God for that long. That is enough. That's good enough. So like that, you have to also practice that kind of conversation within, as I say. That's important too. But on the other side, yes, there are projects, there are works that need some clear direction. So we also have to meet and get directions. And where you will find another guru or God who is available 24/7 on WhatsApps and messages and emails. All I'm saying is that, that is one way of doing things, but that is not the only way of doing things. There are better ways of doing things too, which is to pray in your heart. And you know that when God speaks, the peace that descends on you, that satisfaction, the contentment. It's like a very parched throat that has been given elixir of life. That satisfaction, that contentment, that fullness that comes That itself is a proof. You come back satisfied. You don't come back confused, angry, agitated, or still, arguing with yourself. No. Just come back contented. And if that day nothing has been spoken, how does it matter? Because anyway, you didn't go with any expectations. You just went to sit with God, right? How does it matter? You sit with God and come back. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. That itself is great that you sat with God. Is that not something that has really happened at that moment? So our spirituality should be looked at differently. Within, we should be very peaceful, connected with the divine self, without show compassion to everyone, all the time. And if you can't do anything, at least in your heart of hearts, you must pray for everybody's welfare and pray sincerely. So if your prayers are for others, samasta loka sukhino bhavantu, is not sincere, spirituality has not yet happened to you. It's a mechanical lip service. Then you know that you are not yet gone that deep. So then you know that spirituality is happening, or really you're understanding, enjoying it or not. So all these scriptures will keep it on one side. How many shlokas you can memorize, how many you can quote and explain, how much essence you know, all that is on one side. The other side, what is happening within and without. If you have really experienced that touch of God, you will change from within, and everything around you also will change. That is why I tell you, what happens, somebody asked me after you attain Brahma Jnana. Today somebody was asking what happens after Videha Mukti. He didn't want Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti now everybody knows here. So the boy is asking what happens after Videha Mukti, means when you are dead and gone, and then you attain moksha. What happens? I told, how does it matter? Anyway, you are not there. Why you want to know? The real essence is Jivan Mukti. So what happens to Jivan Muktas and Brahma Jnanis? What changes in them? Does their attire change? Does their habit of eating and doing things change? Does their hairstyle change? Vibhuti changes? What happens? Nothing happens. If they're really true Brahmagyani, they will be as they are. Brahmagyani is the biggest quality of good Brahmagyanis is nobody knows they're Brahmagyanis, by looking at them at least. But by observing what they do with people around, how they impact lives, then you know there is a Brahmagyani over here. So I say, what happens when you become a Brahmagyani? So many projects happen, schools happen, colleges happen, universities happen. So many people get fed, so many people get clothed, so many people get sheltered, so many get medicine, so many get succor, spiritual relief. All this happens around the Brahmagyani. But what happens with the Brahmagyani, as you look at, nothing much. But the first thing people do after attending a workshop or spirituality is that buy a Rudrakshamala, put it around and put it on the shirt so that everybody knows you're wearing one. Unnecessary. Suddenly the size of the vibhuti becomes bigger, or whatever, the bottu becomes bigger. All kinds of anklets, bracelets, everything starts appearing on their hands, feet. All in the name of Brahmagyana. Suddenly hair, beard, everything starts growing. All these unnecessary. And suddenly you start wearing organic clothing in the name of Brahmagyana. All this can be done, but not necessary. In fact, if all this happens and compassion has not happened, nothing has happened. If nothing of these sorts has happened, but compassion has happened, everything has happened. So one litmus test that you can check is that how much more compassion you feel for everyone and everything. Not that you have to go and do something about it outright. It may not be in your capacity to do it. But do you at least feel for it within? Or you just, pass saying, anyway, this is how the world is. Anyway, people are there to suffer. What can I do? Walk away. That sensitivity towards people who are less privileged, less, as comfortable as you, they are not having everything that they need. At least you should have some compassion. The heart should melt. So bottom line is this. Read Bhagavad Gita, read all the scriptures, attend satsangs, go for various workshops, conferences, everything is okay. At the end, heart should melt with compassion. Now see, in the hospital seva and during the birthday, so many of these parents of our children are coming now to do seva. That is the new rule. To encourage parents also to participate. They may not be able to sit for so long to attend Bhagavad Gita, Shibira and things like that. But what I wanted them to do is that they should go and see what the hospital is doing or what the ashram is doing, so that their hearts melt. And if heart melts, Brahma Jnana will happen. So they can go work and see for themselves how it is, how it feels when you serve people with love, what is this atmosphere is like. Then they will also get transformed. For that reason only we have put all these programs. Otherwise, you tell me, if you are managing such an organization with so many paid staff, how much effort does it take to recruit another 15, 20 or 50 people to look after? It's only to give them an opportunity to feel what is going on and melt their hearts with compassion. And through that, they will attain the wisdom. That is the reason why all this has been structured. In fact, if you have a trained, paid, and professional staff, our headache is less, right? Because we don't have to tell them every time, you have to stand like this, you have to greet like this, you have to serve like this, you have to go like this, stay like this. You don't have to do that. Once for all the trouble is taken care of. Now, every time a new batch comes, somebody has to coordinate their coming in, somebody has to coordinate the accommodation, somebody has to take care of the food, then give the job according to their likes and dislikes and capabilities, then train them how to do that job. It's so much of extra work which could be easily avoided. But that is not the reason why we have called parents to serve. We've called them because that will touch their hearts and transform them. Compassion will happen, and that will lead to moksham. So this is the idea of why we do everything. Everything has been very deeply thought about, and everything we do is out of concern for the welfare of all, including parents and all those who cannot afford to be here, come here all the time, but at least once in a while they should experience this, and that transformation should happen. Right? So this is how we design and plan everything for the sake of betterment of everybody. And you must keep checking again and again how much compassion and love you feel for every being. Compassion is the word this shloka has used, but otherwise what I feel is love. A love that is full of concern for others, full of concern. What will happen to that person if nobody helps them? That kind of a concern should be there. Then everything in your mind, which is possible, you must do. What is not possible, what can you do? You can only pray for that. But if it is possible, do it. That's the most important part of Brahmagyana. So Brahmagyani should always be concerned about people's welfare, everybody's welfare, all beings' welfare. And must be engaged in serving them, helping them. No Brahmagyani is a true Brahmagyani if he just sits and lectures from a podium. It's not true Brahmagyana. No Brahmagyani will simply sit idle. It's not possible. In their own little way, and not everybody can open hospitals and colleges, but whatever they are, you will see that they are trying to make a difference to the people around. They're not simply sitting quiet, or they're not doing it one day and not the other. They're constantly engaged in some good to others. That is the signs of a place where a Brahmagyani exists. That is the signs of a place where this Satyuga or Kritiyuga has dawned. That is the signs of the people who are around such a place, living in such a place, around such a person. That is the kind of Brahmagyana, that is the kind of compassion that you must develop. This is the most important lesson that you can learn in Mudenhalli. And I'm glad I've seen the transformation in people in the last 10 to 12 years. I've seen how they had come and now how they are. And that makes me feel so happy and fulfilled. No effort is really being wasted. They are benefiting, because of them so many more are benefiting. And if this is what has happened in just 10 years, another 10 years, you can only imagine how much better you can be. And that is what is going to be very, very fulfilling in this mission. So this is for everyone. Nobody is to be left behind. Everybody has to attain that wisdom through some way, some path or the other. But the easiest path is be concerned about each other. And whatever is possible, do in your might. This is most important. Today I met our PG students and interns. This is for the campus people, not just for the devotees. And I was talking to them. There were, I think, 130 of them, or how many, almost getting 150 there. They all are children who have graduated, post-graduated, and they have joined our institutions. And I was so happy because then 12 years back, this idea came. I remember our discussion with our Narsamurti. He said, we have to start this Tyagajivi training center. And the advertisement was put up, and it was told that they will be given free accommodation and things like that. In the whole of the universe, only one person applied for that center. That was in 2013. And one person applied that time. And we said, for one person's sake, we can't run the place. We can't get everything ready. So we had to decline, saying that, no, when time comes, we will see. That's all it was. And today, there are hundreds who are studying in this university. They're graduating and joining us back. And I keep quoting that example to anybody and everybody who comes to me, that this university is unique because our students have joined us back. They are shouldering the responsibility. And when I was talking to them all today, I remember them all, little boys and girls, 10 years ago or 8 years ago, they were very small. Now they're all grown up. They are young men and women, such bright faces, such maturity, such understanding. It really makes, that is the joy of a guru. I saw that transformation, physically, also spiritually in them. And now they're taking responsibilities. They talk like equals. That is the understanding they have of this mission. It's very fulfilling when you see. I'm sure in times to come, more and more would join. But today I was just talking to them and I felt so good about it. Then I thought I must, whenever I meet people, I only ask myself, what more can I do for them? That's the only question that occurs to me. I can't think what more can I get from them. That is not my way. What more can I do for them? So I feel like doing more. And I gave them the assurance that don't worry about your future. Don't worry about who will look after your parents. Don't worry about how are we going to retire in peace if we give all our life to this mission and dedicate ourselves. All that we will look after. Yogakshemam Vahamyam for sure. And I will look after each one of you and your parents and your family and never let anybody down. Even today, if your parents want to come join and work here, more than happy. More than happy to do. Whatever we have, we will share. Whatever we can help with each other with, we will do. But we will not abandon anybody. So don't ever get this doubt in your head that what if, no. And I told long back to our Narasimhaji also, see, these children may have other siblings also. But never should happen in their lives that their parents should say, you did not look after us, other siblings looked after us. That should never happen. In fact, if there is an opportunity, you only call your parents and look after them well. Forget about whether other siblings are part of the mission or they're earning well outside or living a better life. Does not matter to me. In fact, you should be the first to invite them and that is the time when I remember when we started building the Gulbarga campus. We were building the staff quarters over there. And many people question, why are you building these staff quarters? Who is going to come here? Now, after all, bachelors are there. They will go and stay in the hostel rooms or the dormitories. Why do you need separate building like this? I told, no, a day will come. These boys will come and their parents will also come. Where will they stay? So they can stay in these accommodations. That is why we are building this accommodation. So on the birthday, I told Bharat, we want to start some more staff quarters because naturally, there are many people joining in the medical college is expanding, university is expanding. Many people write to me, can we stay inside? And I feel very hard to tell them there is no accommodation inside. You have to take things on rent outside. And they're living in rent outside, a lot of people. Though we look after all that accommodation outside, but it's not the same as living within this sacred precincts of the ashram. So I decided that we should build some more quarters for them. Then I called Bharat and told, do something about it. What can we do? And today when I talked to these boys and I thought, if these people's parents want to come and stay here, where are they going to go and stay? Then they also need some place. So I thought we'll start with 44, but then I closed saying we'll do 108 apartments for parents of these students who want to come and join us and for the staff. And my children should never be blamed by their siblings, their relatives, those who have only nothing to do but go on advising their relatives. To all of them, this is one answer. That my parents are looked after much better than anybody else. And Swami looks after everybody, institutions look after everybody. That's why I'm able to freely and peacefully do my bit for the society. That is the kind of organization we should build. I don't believe in monkhood. I don't believe in that kind of sannyasa where you have to dump your parents and cut off all your ties and change your name or change your attire. None of this is necessary for me. That is not sannyasa, that is not spirituality to me. Maybe at some point in time that is how it was supposed to be. But today's spirituality in present times is our children should be professionals, they should be well educated, well mannered, they should know how to deal with the world, at the same time deeply spiritually anchored, and they have no desires, no attachments whatsoever. The only purpose of life is to serve all and attain the highest truth. And all their other responsibilities, which is to look after their parents and all the other responsibilities at home, will be looked after by the institution with this faith. With this courage, you must always work here. And be rest assured, everything else will be looked after. Iha, para, both will be looked after for your parents too. They also will be redeemed. As they say, satarati, salokan starayati. You will be redeemed, your parents will be redeemed, and all the children and all the people whom you serve, they also will be redeemed in the process. This is the beauty of our institution. No other institution will guarantee this. No other institution will go this far to look after their people and their families, because we feel we are just one family. We are all one.